Hi, you guys, and thank you so much for joining me on a date with Ashley D. Today, I have a longtime friend of mine by the name of Mckinley Holmes joining me. He is always giving very great advice when it comes to life situations. So, McKinley, do you mind telling the audience a little bit about yourself?
No. How y'all doing? My name is Mckinley Holmes. Um, from Atlanta. Been knowing Ashley for a minute. Got different perspectives on a lot of things, and I think it's gonna be really interesting.
All right, McKenna, so let's go ahead and get started. Now, today is going to be a little bit different. Instead of me interviewing McKinley, he is actually going to interview me just so that you all can get a different perspective of me and gain more insight on Ashley D and who Ashley D is and what all I represent. So, McKinley, you want to get started?
Oh, absolutely. I'm looking forward to this.
Okay.
All right, there. Ashley, as a fan of yours, I've been admiring you from a distance, the different things that you've been doing, and like a fan that I really am, it's a few things that I would like to know. So
Okay. Don't be too hard on me, McKinley.
I'm gonna try not to be. I'm gonna try
Okay.
not to be. All right, Ashley. First thing I need to know, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I sure can. Well, my name's Ashley Davis. I am 39 years old. I am a Libra, and I'm the mother of two daughters, ages 19 and 14, and I'm all about positivity.
Hey, I like that.
Definitely
Positivity. Where it's at.
hardworking. Can't leave that out. Very hardworking. I hold several titles, and
Okay.
also, what else? I'm an author. That's about it.
All right, then. That's good. That's good. All right. So, what do your brand represent, and what do you want Ashley Speaks to mean to the culture?
Okay, very good question, McKinley. So, to the culture and what Ashley D Speaks means. Basically, when I started Ashley D Speaks, I wanted to be able to relate to a lot of different women on a lot of different levels.
Okay.
And I wanted them to know what it is to self love and also rediscover themselves. And when I speak of rediscovering, that means rediscovering who you are as a person. Because a lot of times people can come into our lives and get into our thought process to make us think differently about who we are as a person. So if you're rediscovering who you are, no one else's opinion matters about you as a person. Only what you think of yourself is going to matter.
Oh, that's excellent. Excellent. I love that answer. Now, I gotta know, what does the D mean?
Well, the D, of course, it does stands for my last name Davis, but also determined.
Oh, that's all.
Determined, yes.
All right, I like that. I like that. So, what are some things that you want women to know about you that will make you more relatable?
Hmm, more relatable to other women. Well, ladies, let me tell you. First and foremost, I've been through just as much as you have. I've been through ups and downs throughout my entire life. I've had relationship situations where I would think I'm the main one, then find out I'm being cheated on. I've been like in domestic situations to a certain extent. I've been disrespected before as a woman, and the verbal abuse, I've experienced that as well. When it comes to motherhood, I struggle with making sure I'm showing both my kids the right amount of attention that they're needing to give them the reassurance of who they are and making sure both of them feel loved on the same levels, making sure I'm not showing favoritism with my kids. When it comes to like finances, I've had my share of being broke, wondering where my next meal is going to come from, scraping up money, robbing people to pay Paul, you name it, I've been there. But I had to get to a place in my life to where I came to self-realizations that I got to create a different life for myself if I want to live differently, and also if I want a different life for myself and my kids. So what I had to do was make some changes in my life that was gonna give me that avenue that I needed to, no longer just live paycheck to paycheck and have that extra money on the side to be able to live the life that I wanted to, live as well as with my kids.
Oh, man, that's an amazing answer. I like that. I like that. But since you brought relationships, I got to know one thing. What are some of the things that you learned from past relationships that help motivate you in this season of excellence?
Woo, that's deep. Okay, so first and foremost, with relationships, not all of them are always bad. You're gonna have your good times within relationships as well as bad. But I always have thought of you got to learn something from the person that you're with because iron sharpen iron, and then also you also have to be able to help each other to go two steps further, meaning they're going to save you some steps. You should be able to take something from that relationship to be able to apply it to your life that's going to help you get to the next level where you want it to be. Where the one I had one to give me the blueprint on how to maneuver throughout life and how to get to where I want to be beside the people who I want to be connected to. Had another situation that showed me about finances and fashion and all that good stuff. Not to become so complacent. And then also, but from each one, they showed me the type of men that I'm not willing to accept into my life, and also what I am and not willing to put up with. So it's like you're going to learn something from every relationship that you're in.
Oh, okay. Then look at you. Then I like that. I like that. Now I got to know this right here. The title of your book is Bent, but Not Broke. What kept you from being broken?
Whew. Okay, so Bent But Not Broken is actually a 30-day devotional. So within those 30 days, I touched on different topics, whether it was my body, loving people unconditionally, or just becoming the queen within myself, separating my family life from my relationship, my relationship, and just things of that nature there. So it's about loving people unconditionally. So with Bent But Not Broken, I went through a lot of broken stages in my life, but I couldn't let them defeat me. I had to overcome all of those obstacles, and I had to find it within myself the strength to fight every battle that I was in.
I like that. I like that. Hey, those about all the questions I had. You know what I mean? I'm glad you took the time to clear it up because a lot of people want to know exactly who Ashley was. And when Ashley speaks, they want to know exactly what Ashley Spit meant to you.
Well, I thank you so much, Mckinley, for shedding light on who I am as a person, and maybe people can become more relatable to me. But, ladies, I have something great in store for you. Some advice from Mr. McKinley.
Oh, you already know I got a lot of opinions. Now, that's all good. So just hit it. We'll go with it.
Okay, McKinley. So, first and foremost, we have a lot of talks, and you've helped me.
Yes, yes.
So, how can you encourage women that are in emotionally abusive relationships? Tell them what steps can they take to overcome those situations.
Well, I think when it comes down to relationships, you have to first learn how to love yourself. Some people don't know exactly what that means. Some people they need a person to define them. So whenever you're in a relationship and you're trying to learn how to love yourself, sometimes you have to take a step backwards. I had to learn that for myself. Taking a step backward, you can be more accountable to who you are. Once you take a step backward, you're not so close to it. It'll let you see the thing that you don't like, the thing that you're not gonna accept, and it'll give you a better focus on how you want to move forward.
Ooh, that's deep. That is so true. Taking a step back, it does allow you to see the full picture instead of seeing it up close. You missing something
Absolutely.
within that picture.
Yes.
Okay, and how can you? What advice would you give to a woman that is going through a situation where a man is playing games? Like, how does she know he's playing games, and what can she do to make some adjustments as far as that situation?
Well, when you're talking to a woman, you're talking about a man playing games. First and foremost, you have to check things from the beginning. I think a lot of women allow things because the man is handsome, attractive, eye candy, whatever you want to call it. They allow things to happen early that they don't want to be a part of their relationship, but they more willing to accept it because they like the guy or they like how he look or they like what he represents. Sometimes you have to check a man. And what I mean by that, have some standards that you know are deal breakers. Stick with your deal breakers and let him know absolutely whatever it is, if you do this, I'm telling you, I'm walking away from you. If ladies don't set that standard, us men gonna tiptoe on the line all the time.
But what about those women that feel as though, well, I've been with him for this many years and I don't want to see him with anybody else? I would, it's just a lot of different things that you hear women say as to why they're choosing to stay within those relationships.
And I understand where those ladies coming from, but to be honest, it's not a competition. And what I mean by that, what I stress to my daughters and as I look at relationships, a person has to accept you for 100% for who you are. And if you're not 100% what they want, then you got to make a decision, not them. See, that's the problem. A lot of ladies be waiting for the man to make a decision. No, ladies, come on now. You're going to be in control. Be in control. You got to let him know, look, I'm not going to accept this. If you don't want to be with me, cool, I can walk away, but I'm not willing to share you. But see, a lot of ladies, they think it's a competition. So the lady, instead of looking at the actions of the man, they looking at the other woman. They like, no, I'm not gonna let her win. She thinks she gonna win. I'm not gonna let her win, and it becomes a problem. It's not a competition. Soon as you realize that a guy not showing you the thing that you need, you have to make a decision for yourself to walk away.
That's good. That's very good advice. So, that's good advice. Okay, and let me ask you this here, McKinley. Okay, so what about of guy who is physically abusive to a woman, and she is in that situation, and she loves him. She's been with him for many, many years. How can she overcome that situation?
Oh man, that's actually that's a good question, but it's something a lot of women face all the time. My heart goes out to the ladies that's in abusive relationships, whether it's physically, whether it's emotional. Um, that's difficult. And what I mean by that, that person has to find a support system, because sometimes people say, "Oh, just walk away." It ain't that easy when you're attached to somebody. I think you have to watch who your friends are. You got to be connect with the right people in the community for us, the church members, or people that are moving in a positive direction, and people that talk about the excellence of you, the people that tell you that you don't deserve that. Because sometimes when you're in those relationships, you sitting there thinking, well, at least a piece of a man is better than a part of a man, and I really have a piece of a man, but you not understand that every day that you're in that relationship, instead of you increasing, you decreasing. You're not growing in your faith. You're not growing in your happiness. So it's hard to tell a person, just walk away. But what you have to do, some people, when they're in those situations, they remove themselves from family, they remove themselves from friends, and people can't talk to them. And
Right,
the abusive person, they want to keep them away from people so they can keep them in control. But I think the first thing you have to do is, one, realize that you're in a bad situation.
right,
Once you realize you're in a bad situation, I always say, everybody got one or two friends, like real ones,
right.
even if it's a family member. Don't be afraid to tell a person what's going on, because sometimes we be in those situations and we're ashamed. And you sitting there like, oh, I look so amazing on the outside, and people can't believe that you will let somebody be physically and verbally abusive to you. So I say, find your support system, one or two people that you strongly believe in. Confide in them, let them know what's going on. Help them encourage you, and then start looking for avenues and ways to get out of that situation, because it's nothing healthy, not only for you, but a lot of ladies have to think about what their kids get to see.
Right.
Because I used to always tell my daughter's mom, say, it didn't work out between us, I understand. But your job is to make sure that you don't meet a man that's abusive to you and treating you a way that my daughter be watching you and she think that's acceptable.
That's right.
Because that's your job as a mother. If I'm not going to be in the home, I said, I'm not never going to tell you who to talk to. But as a mother, I think you need to be more concerned about who you're talking to and what kind of thing that you're showing our daughter, what's acceptable and what's not acceptable.
And that is true. And then speaking of the home, let me ask you this here. I made a post the other day in regards to like relationships and being a single woman. I'm, a newly single woman, so it's like I'm out here in the world now living my life, and I get approached a lot, but not by single men, but by men that are in committed relationships and also that are married. And I'm looking at it like, what is it about me that keeps attracting these men that are committed? And it's like sometimes I feel like I'm a sheep amongst wolves. So, I mean, what is targeting me? And I'm sure I'm not the only woman. I'm sure there's other single women as well. And it's not like I condone, cheating with a married person or a committed person. But this is what is happening on a daily where I'm being approached. So can you give me some insight about that as to why they could possibly be operating in that manner?
You want the truth, or you want just something to make you feel good?
Raw and uncut. Give me the truth.
All right, the truth is you safe. And what I mean by that, when men look at you, you safe. You don't look like the type of woman that's gonna come into a woman's house and kick in the door or make noise or try to front of me on social media. So if I got somebody to the side and whatever reason I'm unhappy wherever I'm at, I look at you as a safety net. And what I mean by that, I can come to you, you ain't gonna have no drama. When I come to you, you're gonna make me feel like a king. But at the same time, you also ain't gonna be about no drama. So I'm saying, okay, I could say such and such, spend a little time with her, go kick it with her to get outside of the noise, and I ain't gotta worry about her coming to my front door. So the reason why you're attracting those type of men, because you look like a safety. Like you ain't about drama, and you look like you carry yourself. You're attractive woman. You got business about yourself, so that looks good too. So you got men with egos looking at you like, you know what, bro? Now she ain't gonna cause no smoke. So I'd rather holler at her instead of hollering at the woman that I know will come knock on my front door and tell my girl or my wife what's really going on.
Right.
That's the truth.
That's deep. Thank you, McKinley. I told you, ladies, he keeps it real.
100.
Mhm. But if a man is not happy, why cheat and why put another woman in the position of getting her emotions involved, knowing that he will never be hers, or knowing he's not, just willing to leave the situation he's already in?
But see, it's two parts to what you just said. The thing that you got to understand is you say, why cheat? But see, the men that cheat say, why not? And I'm going to tell you why. You know how many men talk to women, they meet women, they go out on dates with them. Them women have never asked them one time, are you married? They've been talking to this guy 8 months. They never asked him if he was married. They never asked him if he was in a relationship. They was just enjoying the time that they was spending wherever we was going. We was having a blast. We looked good together. You feeling like, oh my God, this is the one. And he's sitting there thinking, man, I hope she don't ask that question. But see, the mere fact that you didn't ask that question from the beginning, he feel like, okay, whatever I bring to the table, if I can get in, if we get to the point we intimate, oh, I know I'm good now. But I think ladies, it ain't even the man's job. If ladies start asking them questions early, like, I don't mean, are you married? Are you in a committed relationship right now? Because I ain't gonna never say you don't date, because sometimes you meet a guy that's just dating, but there's a difference.
Right.
When you paying attention to how that man move, the consistency of his movement will give you your answers. So you call him at 9:30, 10 o'clock, he never answer.
Right.
He always sleep.
Right.
Sometimes you gotta look at something. It ain't rocket science. Sometimes
Right.
you gotta understand. Maybe he's not in a position where he can talk to you. But if
Right.
he can talk to you, going to work. Oh, girl, I woke up. I dreamed about you all night. Come on now. You gotta
Right.
know what game is. But never be afraid. I think the problem is a lot of people are afraid to ask that question. And what I mean, I'm enjoying the time I'm spending with him. I don't want to ask that question because that might rock. I don't want to make him upset. I don't want to think that I'm insecure.
Right.
But the first thing you should do is ask him, because if you don't check a man, best believe we don't get checked. Because if you don't know how to check us, we just gonna keep on moving how we moving, and we just will. You gonna have to be willing to accept what we bring to the table, because you weren't willing to set the table when you came. That's all I'm saying.
Ooh, that's deep.
Hey, it is what it is, you know. It's
That's
just
deep,
conversation.
McKinley. And what about, okay, the men that constantly are in and out of women's lives and she keeps taking them back, or those type of women? Wait a minute, let me correct myself. Not those type of women, but if a woman and a man are in love and he keeps dipping out and she keeps accepting that type of behavior, then what kind of tone is she setting, and does he really take her serious, or is this just a safe place for him?
You got to understand now when you say dipping in and out. Now you got to understand some people are in emotional relationships, some people just in physical relationships. So you got to ask yourself, am I falling in love with the emotional part, or do I just love the D? Let's just keep it real.
Right.
Because some people just fall in love with the sexual, the physical part of it,
Right.
and they say, "Oh, girl, I can't stand him, but he get on my last nerve. But girl, he know how to do such and such and such." They fall in love with that. Now, if that's what you're looking for, hey, by all means, enjoy it, ladies. But if you want something real, come on now. You can't allow yourself to play the game. And when I look at it like that right there, once you set the standard from the jump, men are like kids. And what I mean by that, if you set order and tell a kid, we're going to do this, you can't do this, you can't do that, once you set the standard early, the kids understand.
Right.
If you don't set that standard early with men, they don't understand, and they're going to continue to do X, Y, Z. So you can't put yourself in that position. Never have sex with a man that you don't feel comfortable yourself. Because a lot of women put pressure on themselves and they say, well, I really like him and I want to think we can be together, and I think if we have sex, that'll let me know if it's sealed a deal. No. Why you want to have a spiritual connection with somebody that you really don't want to be with? So once a woman decide what area that she want to be in, what ways that she want to be in the relationship, she set that standard for herself. She set it in the beginning, then she bring the man. That's the
Can a man love two women?
problem. Honestly, yeah. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. being a guy that made a decision to change my life and do some things different. One time I had a conversation with my baby mom, and she was like, I always thought me and you would have been great together. And I said, well, to be honest, the guy that I was 20 years ago, that wouldn't have worked for you because that guy could only give you 20%. And the problem was you was a woman who was okay with that 20%. But to be honest, for me to feel 100, I had to have 5 women I could give 20% for me to feel 100. I felt amazing. All I could get on women was 20%, and I never had a woman who could check me and say I deserve more than that 20. But since everybody accepted that 20, I just rolled with it, and I just thought it fed into my ego. Now, you got to understand, nothing a woman can do can change a man. She can set a standard and don't allow herself to be put in that situation. But a man decides when he want to change. A man won't even change for a woman.
He has to change for himself.
He has to change for himself. And the reason why I say that, it's almost like going to the gym. If you're going to the gym only because your girls look fit, you'll never get where you're trying to get. Or when you get there, you can't stay because you didn't go for yourself. You went because you thought how your friends thought. And that's how men are in relationships. So it is what it is. You can be in love with more than one woman, but is it agape love or is it just a physical attraction? And I think sometimes men don't fall in love with the woman. They fall in love with what the woman brings to the table. Because this young lady, she can cook. Or this young lady right here, I can have a great conversation with. Or this young lady right here, I can go on trips with. She loves, she great. This young lady right here, she know all the restaurants to go to. I love hanging out with her. This right here, she know how to go to the club. She know how to turn up when she need to. This right here, I can bring her around the guys. She like watching games. She knows sports. Men fall in love with things women do. Sometimes not the woman. It is what it is.
Really? So that song that just came out, one woman don't, what is it? One monkey don't stop no show. Got to keep on rolling. 3 women.
George, that's
so you getting something from each one of them.
And the crazy part about it, if you ask that man, he feels strongly about each one because each one represents something that's real to him. Mm-hmm. It doesn't see that the thing that people get caught up in. Everybody has their own reality.
Right.
So you sitting there like you can't love more than one woman. He's sitting there looking like, in my world, yes, I can. Like, when I'm with her, I love with her. When I'm with her, I love with her. And the man becomes who he need to be in each situation to show that love.
But let me ask you this here. Okay, so if a man has a woman and he's still looking for different things out there, it's like, what is he looking for? Is it like fulfillment? Like, is he lacking something in his life?
Well, see, it's a lot of things when you say, what is he looking for? See, every man is in a different place in his life.
Right.
And what I mean by that, a lot of times women don't know the type of women that a man dated before he met her. I myself and the first 2 ladies I dated, fell in love, I jumped in 100%. Both of them broke my heart. What did that do? That created the monster. Because I wasn't going to allow now another woman to get close to this right here. I played the game, and if you did anything that I didn't like, I kept on moving. But what I did, I was a grown-up acting like a little boy. See, a lot of times women don't know they mean grown-ups in age, but they little boys mentally. Right. So mentally, they're not able to give her what she wants, but they're not man enough to tell her that. It's a difference. Now, if you allow me to play with you or allow me to be in your life for a little while, the man just in there thinking that if I'm there long enough, maybe it'll stick. Mm-hmm. So the thing is, a woman has to make a decision like, you know what, this right here ain't working for me. You know what I mean? I expect more from my man, and right now you're not bringing to the table what I need you to bring. So that's the problem. So the women have to set the standard once again.
Okay, that's good. That's very good. And you oftentimes speak about timing. So can you talk about timing and growth in life?
Everything in life reflects on timing. I don't care what you're doing in life. Sometimes you can meet a person, it could be the perfect person for you, but they married. Wrong timing. You know what I mean? Y'all had a great conversation. Y'all get along. Oh, she go to church. She's amazing. She's out, but she's somebody else's wife. If it's meant to be, you sit there thinking if it's meant to be, one day we'll be together. But that's not how people think. Because you got ladies that see a man and they like what they see. They don't care that he got a wife.
Right.
They don't care that he got a family.
Right.
They just see what they want and they want the finished product. So when it comes down to timing, timing is, okay, I have made a decision that I want to be excellent in my life. And I met a young lady that made a decision that she want to be excellent in her life. And I heard a statement one time and say, everybody be worried about trying to find the right person, but very few people are trying to be the right person.
Mm.
So timing is all about when you make a decision to be the right person.
Right.
Because when you make that decision to be the right person, you're already on the road to finding that woman that want to be the right person as well. So y'all meet at the right time. So timing is all about you making a decision for yourself.
Right.
That's all.
Ooh, that's deep. Okay. So, is it a true saying about a man that is a very masculine man? He's going to be turned off by an aggressive type of woman, and an aggressive type of woman is going to attract a man that is not feminine, but a man that is more of a passive male.
Well, you got to understand, as men, that we look at women now, we come up in a society where women are raised to be independent. Girl, get your own. Girl, you don't need a man. Girl, don't wait on a man to do this. Don't wait. But what happens is that ain't nothing wrong with that statement.
Right.
But at the same time, once you get a woman who's always made decisions for a home, how she gonna move, where she gonna go for vacation, she'll meet a man. He's an alpha man that wanna be a leader. Two people trying to lead. So instead of him meeting a woman, he meet a he-man. And what I mean by that is a woman who thinks she a man. Everything she do is like a man. She want to make decisions like a man. See, what I'm saying is, if a woman is smart, a woman can guide a man and make him think the idea that he had was perfect when that's the idea that she wanted the whole way. If she know how to play the game, she can make him feel like a king and still make him feel like he's leading the household. And the whole time, she leading it the whole way. So the difference is
A form of manipulation.
come on, now the game gonna always be the game. But see, the problem is some ladies sit there and say they've been making decisions all their life and they don't know how to release that to a man.
Yeah.
They're like, how can I trust your decisions? I don't know. I've been looking at the thing. You ain't got no house. You ain't got no this. So they're sitting there looking at what he got as can he be a great leader?
That's true, because, and not trying to cut you out, but myself and the things you were speaking of is like I've established a lot on my own. So it's like for someone to come in, you got to show me that you're stable and you're able to actually be able to lead us in the right direction. Because if I release my control of things that I have going on, then you can drop the ball, and then what am I to do with everything that I built from the ground up?
But see, you got to understand, it ain't all about releasing control. See, when you release control, we sitting there thinking, oh, we let somebody else drive. They got the wheel. See, sometimes it's even like when you're teaching a kid how to drive. You're sitting in the car and they driving. And every now and then they make a move you don't like. You put your hand on the steering wheel. Why? Because you stable it. You want to make sure they don't run you off the road because you're seeing how this going. The same thing you have to do with a man. Sometimes you give him small things to see how he move with small things. But the most important thing you could ever do is have conversations. How do you feel about finances? What direction do you see our family going? And once you start getting an understanding of the man, see, a lot of times a woman is just automatically say, girl, please. Man, he wasn't here when I bought this house. He ain't even got a house. I don't even know his credit like. But see, sometimes it ain't all about where a person at, because God put people in each other's lives. When you meet that person, everything about that person will elevate you.
That's right.
But
I believe that.
But sometimes we choose people that look good, and everything about that person decreases us.
Yes.
So the problem is, it ain't taking our hands off or can he lead. It's that being a woman is a two-part thing. Like, I can love the fact that you're strong enough to give me your opinion. But at the same time, I respect the fact that you're woman enough to make me feel like a king. So I can ask you a question. You can be like, hey, no, that make no sense. That's one way to say it. So I can ask you a question. You say, that's interesting, baby. You know what I'm saying? But have you ever thought about this? So what that does as a man, it helps me grow. Sometimes we have to help a person grow. Because sometimes women think the only thing that they doing to helping a man grow, sometimes when they connect to the right man, the conversation that they have actually is helping them grow. And it get them to the direction that they're trying to get.
So since you spoke about delivery and how it's all in how the woman says things, okay, what about a man? Okay, you have this woman, she's used to, paying all the bills herself. She's used to getting this and getting that. She's getting everything done on her own, running the house as, herself and taking care of the kids. Then this guy comes along and he's pretty much talking to her in a kind of way. And do you really think this independent woman is going to accept this behavior?
But see, first of all, you already said about when you set the table. First and foremost, if he talk with you any kind of way, he ain't the type of man you should be talking to anyway. First thing.
True.
And I don't care how he look. I don't care what he got. If he don't know how to respect you, then why would you want him to be the head of your household?
Right.
Because if you raising young ones and you got young ladies that watching you, how a man speaks to you, that lets them know how they're gonna allow a man to speak to them. So as a mother's job is to make sure she protect her kids.
Right.
Protecting her kids, also showing them in a blueprint, an example of what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. The worst thing women do is they get connected to all these men, and the girls, their daddy went down. So from 5 to 18, she didn't see mama have 5 relationships, and she didn't see 5 different men disrespect mama.
Right.
So now she's sitting there thinking, well, maybe disrespect is a part of love. See what I'm saying? Because you just set an example. So whenever you see a guy that's trying to talk to you a certain type of way, your motherly instinct says, you know what? It's more than just me. Somebody watching how I allow a man to speak to me. So you as a mother should say, you know what? I'm not going to allow myself to be in this situation. You know what? Right now, this ain't a good time for us. Because I would love to be with a guy like you, but right now, I'm not going to accept you speaking to me in any kind of way. And if we're not coming from a place of positivity, we're not even going to come at them.
Right. I agree. That is so true, McKinley. That's some good advice. That is some very good advice. And, I have learned so much from you, and I really appreciate it. Is there anything else that you want to share to the ladies or even the gentlemen, even the guys? What's something positive that you can say to the gentlemen to just lift them up? Because a lot of times guys speak of, as men, we go through so much. So what can you say to your brothers out there to lift them up a little bit?
Man, brothers, sometimes you have to take the time and do what I call self-awareness. Self-awareness is looking at the person in the mirror and just be honest. There were times when I looked in the mirror, man, I had 5 or 6 amazing women. It was just the wrong timing. I wasn't the guy that they needed to be. And right now they got 5 or 6 husbands and they happily married. And I have to look at that from a distance like, wow, I had an amazing woman. God blessed me with an amazing woman. I was just not ready to receive that blessing. I think in order for you to receive your blessing, once you look in the mirror and you say, you know what, I've been the problem. There have been some times where I've been the problem. I've been doing some things that wasn't productive to a positive relationship. When you can look at yourself like that and say, you know what, I got to make some adjustments for me. Once you decide that you want to do better, then do better. That's the problem, because it's easy. Come on, I live in Atlanta. Y'all see Chocolate City. I'm all day long. I live in Atlanta, and it's probably women 15-1. So it's easy for me to play the game, but why? I'm 47 years old. Do I want to continue to play the game my whole life? Or do I want to sit down, look at myself in the mirror and say, what are the things that I'm doing that's not conducive of what I want? If I say I want to be a husband, then why I'm not moving like a husband? I can't be a husband moving like a single man.
That's true.
Fact. You can't wait to get married to start conditioning your mind to be a husband. If you love to go to the club, don't think you're going to get married in 2 weeks and the club been your life all your life. You ain't going to just cut that off because you got married. You're going to be like, she met me in the club, and if she met me in the club, I'm going to stay in the club. Because your mentality, you haven't matured in your thinking. You have to put yourself in a position to be what you want to be. If you're a woman and you know you want to be a wife, you got to start thinking about it. Can I cook? Am I prepared to clean the house? Am I prepared to even bring a man into my house? There ain't nothing worse than meeting somebody and you think you know them, you love them to death, and you bring them in your house. Man, sometimes they might use all the tissue, don't put them up. It irks your nerve. They might drink all the milk out of the fridge. It irks your nerve. Have you conditioned your mind to be in a household with somebody that don't think like you? And you got to have those conversations. The more conversation you have on the beginning side, the less conversation you have to have on the other.
That's true because everybody was brought up so differently. Everybody had a different background. So when you come together living with someone, that's like a wake up call.
Man,
Like it's a reality check.
I got a friend right now. Me and him were having a conversation. He was like, "Man, my wife, she don't do this, and I want structure in the house, and I want the kids to go to bed at a certain time, and I want this." And I said, "Well, bruh, how was she raised?" I said, "You was raised in a household where your mom set that standard. That's what you know.
Right.
But you judging your wife, who you chose,
Hmm.
to the standard of your mom. That's unfair to her."
But a lot of guys will say, oh, they're looking for someone that's just like their mother, only to get women that are not.
But because some people feel like opposite attracts. Now, let's get it real. They There are some things about their mom that they love,
Hmm.
but there's some things that they don't want. They don't want to think their woman to be like their mom. There's some things they want something separate. But the problem is, people try to pick and choose.
Hmm.
So when you have those conversations from the beginning, like what are important to you? Like if a man say, "I want my house to be clean. I want my woman to maybe prepare a meal 3 or 4 times a week." Whatever the things that's important to him, y'all had that conversation. When you
Right.
ask the woman, "What's important for you? What are you looking for a man?" and you say, "Well, I want a man who can fix some things around the house, who can do X, Y, Z." Those are the things that's important to you. Let a person know,
Right.
because some people will lie to you.
They
What I
will.
mean about that,
Hmm.
I met so many girls. Yeah, I can burn, I can cook. And then I go in and I spend time to them. I realize like it's a lot of microwave meals in this in this refrigerator. You know what I mean? Or we
Right.
go out to eat often.
Right.
So people they'll try to be what they think you want, and I
Right.
think that's where the problem comes in. Don't be what you think a person wants. Be your authentic self, and let me learn to love who you are. Because if
Right.
you present something to me that you know you ain't gonna be consistent, that you know that ain't you,
The truth gonna eventually come out.
come on, now you know I'm gonna be ready to walk away. Then. So simple.
Yep, that's true. All right, McKenna. Well, I do want to thank you so much for joining me today on a date with Ashley D. You giving us some great insight on like love, relationships, and also just interviewing me and allow people to get a better view of who I am as a person. So thank you so much, and you all have a great day. Thanks for joining me on a date with Ashley D. Bye, you guys.
Thank y'all for having me.